Welcome back to the channel everyone. Today's story is one of the most emotional, heartbreaking, and deeply human moments the Korean entertainment industry has witnessed in recent years. The passing of veteran actor Lee Sun-unj, one of Korea's most respected, beloved, and iconic figures, shook the entire nation. But what truly moved millions around the world was the sight of Lee Junho and Yoona breaking down in tears at his funeral, overwhelmed by grief, respect, and the weight of losing a man who shaped generations of performers. This moment has become a symbol of just how deeply Lee Sun-unj impacted those who came after him. It wasn't just another celebrity attending a public event. It wasn't a simple appearance made out of obligation. It was raw emotion shared silently but powerfully between two stars whose careers were influenced in ways many fans never fully understood until now. Junho and Yoona's presence at the funeral wasn't surprising, but the depth of their sorrow was something no one expected. They arrived quietly, avoiding attention, trying to slip into the hall with the dignity and respect the event deserved. Cameras kept a respectful distance and attendees maintained a solemn calm, yet even in the calmness, the heaviness in the atmosphere could be felt through every photo and every short clip that surfaced afterward. Lee Sun-unj wasn't just a veteran actor, he was considered the grandfather of acting, a man whose wisdom, mentorship, and legacy shaped Korea's entertainment industry for over 6 decades. So when Junho and Yoona, two of the biggest stars of their generation, appeared overcome with emotion, fans across the world immediately felt the depth of what his passing meant, not just to the industry, but to the people whose lives he touched. Personally, usually composed, respectful and steady even during highly emotional events, struggled to maintain his usual calm. Witnesses described him taking slow breaths, blinking repeatedly, trying so hard to keep himself together before he finally lowered his head and wiped away tears. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't for show, it was the kind of quiet, painful grief that comes from losing someone who guided you, inspired you, and helped shape the artist you became. Yoona stood beside him, her expression soft but heavy. Even from afar, fans could see her trying to suppress sobs, her eyes already filled before she even stepped fully into the hall. She pressed her lips together, swallowed hard, and when the tribute images of Loonj began playing, it became impossible for her to hold it in. Tears fell freely and she covered her face for a moment, overwhelmed by the emotion of the moment. People who attended said it was one of the most heartfelt expressions of grief they had seen from them. Not because they were celebrities, but because they looked like grandchildren grieving a grandfather. It was human, raw, and deeply moving. Part of what made this moment so powerful is the history that Lee Yoona shared with younger generations of actors. Although Junho and Yoona never starred in a major drama directly under his tutelage, they both grew up in the industry, being influenced by the standards he set. His interviews, teachings, acting philosophy and words of encouragement had reached them throughout their careers. He was a man whose presence, even from afar, shaped countless young actors. Yoona often spoke in past interviews about how veteran performers inspired her to pursue acting more seriously, mentioning how watching people like Loonj made her respect the craft deeply. Junho, who transitioned from idol to actor, frequently expressed how much he admired actors who carried themselves with dignity and humility, traits Loonj embodied perfectly. Over the years, both stars encountered him at award shows, acting ceremonies, industry training events, and small gatherings organized by senior actors. Each time, they shared warm smiles, polite bows, and brief conversations that left a lasting impression. The elderly actor was known for his gentle way of speaking, the way he encouraged younger performers and reminded them of the deeper meaning behind storytelling, art, and authentic expression. So when news of his passing broke, it wasn't just the loss of a legendary figure, it was the loss of someone who had quietly shaped their journey. The funeral itself was solemn and respectful. Industry legends, young stars, directors, and longtime Colleagues gathered in a quiet, heartfelt farewell. There were no unnecessary press interactions, no staged photo lines, only the soft murmur of people sharing memories, wiping tears, and reflecting on the extraordinary life of a man who had given everything he had to his craft. When Junho and Yoona entered, several attendees took notice of the way they seemed to rely on each other for ocean support. They walked close, not speaking much, but their body language conveyed everything. Yoona rested her hand lightly against her chest, a gesture that fans recognized as something she does when she's deeply emotional. Junho occasionally glanced at her, checking if she was okay, but his own composure wavered each time he saw another photo of the actor displayed. Their grief wasn't loud, but it was overwhelming. As they approached the portrait of Lunge, both of them paused longer than most. Junho bowed his head, holding it low for a long time before straightening up. Yoona pressed her hands together respectfully, her shoulders trembling slightly. They stood side by side, absorbing the weight of the moment, and when they finally stepped away, both of them wiped their eyes again. The internet erupted hours later when the first images surfaced. Fans around the world expressed their shock and heartbreak. Seeing Junho cry made me cry. Yoona trying to hold it in broke me. You can feel how much they respected him. This loss feels like losing a national treasure. The reactions online reflected something deeper than celebrity emotion. It reflected a shared sense of loss. Lunge wasn't just an actor. He was a cultural icon, someone who played a grandfather, mentor, judge, teacher, and wise figure in countless dramas. For many viewers, he felt like a family member they grew up watching, and seeing younger stars grieving him made that sense even stronger. The funeral also brought the industry together in a rare unified moment. Actors who had worked with him for decades stood alongside those who admired him from afar, directors who relied on his wisdom, writers who shaped characters specifically for him, and producers who trusted him with their most emotionally heavy roles, all gathered to honor him. Junho and Yoona's emotional reaction stood out because it represented the bridge between generations. They were the link between the legacy Lunge built and the future he influenced through his example. Their tears sent a message. You guided us. You inspired us. We will carry your legacy forward. In the days following the funeral, fans began sharing clips of Lunge's most iconic moments, thanking him for his contributions to the world of entertainment. Younger fans who didn't know much about him discovered his long history of excellence, while older fans reflected on how much joy he brought into their lives. The entire Korean entertainment community mourned together, united by shared respect and shared grief. Junho and Yoona have not released personal statements, and honestly, they don't need to. Their presence, their emotion, and their heartbreak at the funeral said more than words ever could. Sometimes, silence carries the deepest message, and their quiet tears became a symbol of love, respect, and gratitude. As fans continue to remember Lee Sununge, many have pointed out how meaningful it was to see stars like Junho and Yoona honoring him with such sincerity. It showed that legacy isn't just about awards or achievements. It's about the people you touch along the way. Lunge touched millions. He shaped an industry. He inspired generations. And in that funeral hall, through the tears of two of Korea's brightest stars, the world was reminded of just how deep his impact truly was. Thank you all for joining me today. Stay tuned for more heartfelt stories, emotional moments, and meaningful updates from the world of Korean entertainment.